moviegoers, and welcome to With Veronica. If this is your first episode of our show, I'm Spoon.
And I'm Veronica.
We talk about and review movies. Today we're focused on the MCU. For those of you who have been out of the loop for the last decade, the MCU, or Marvel Cinematic Universe, is a collection of movies set in the vast world of Marvel Comics.
The MCU has been vastly successful and really set the bar for all superhero movies.
We're going to go through each of the MCU movies to date and get you caught up with Avengers Endgame.
This might get a bit spoilery, so if you want to experience the movies for yourself, please tune out now.
Way back in 2008, 11 years ago, Marvel started it off with Iron Man.
Starring Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, a snarky billionaire and inventor.
I wasn't ever really a fan of Iron Man, but heck, it was a Marvel movie and I was going to see it.
How can you not like Iron Man?
I don't know, he's like alcoholic Batman with less purpose.
You're ridiculous.
The thing you need to know from Iron Man is, Tony doesn't have any powers. He's a genius inventor who has nearly infinite funds.
Overall, we gave Iron Man 3.5 stars. Next is The Incredible Hulk, which we're going to skip because it has almost nothing to do with the MCU, and the actor for the Hulk is changed for the rest of the movies.
All you need to know is Bruce Banner is changed by gamma rays, so in moments of tense emotion, he becomes the massive green-skinned Hulk.
Iron Man 2 came next. Tony is back, and the world now knows he's Iron Man.
This put a target on his head specifically from a dude named Vanko who is mad that Tony's dad stole all the credit for his invention.
Tony's friend and military man Rhodey gets a suit of his own and calls himself War Machine.
He's basically Iron Man without the grace but with a lot more firepower. We also get our first peek at Black Widow.
Widow is a spy, martial artist, and acrobat. She is skilled with a number of weapons, including her shock bracers and batons. Iron Man 2 was not nearly as good as the first, and is in our opinion one of the weakest movies in the MCU. We rated Iron Man 2.5 stars.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Spoon is a giant Thor fanboy, excuse him.
Thor is the god of thunder, literally. He lives on Asgard, and he's the first hero we get that actually has superpowers.
Super strength, durability, the ability to call lightning and thunder.
Thor wields the hammer Mjolnir.
Meow meow.
Mjolnir is a mystical weapon forged in the heart of a dying star. It can't be moved by those deemed unworthy.
Which is pretty much everyone.
Mjolnir also allows Thor to fly.
In Thor, we get our first look at an Infinity Stone. The Tesseract is a cube with the power to bend space.
This is the Space Stone. More on Infinity Stones later.
Thor is a bit of an ass and gets himself banished to Earth, where he is deemed unworthy to wield the hammer.
This is how he meets S.H.I.E.L.D., the government agency that's been tracking heroes. We also get our first look at Hawkeye. He's a master marksman, assassin, martial artist, and acrobat. The coolest part is his weapons. He's got specialized bows with trick arrows.
Thor's brother Loki sends the Destroyer to kill Thor, but the God of Thunder is willing to sacrifice himself to save Earth, thus making him worthy.
Thor was epic and had some of the most beautiful sets I've seen in a long time. We gave Thor 3.5 stars.
Ooh, a period piece. Big band and pin curls.
She's right. Captain America, the first Avenger, takes us all the way back to the 1940s.
Steve Rogers is a scrawny kid from Brooklyn who wants to join the fight and go off to war with his friend Bucky.
A scientist chooses him for an experimental program, and he's made into a super soldier. We're talking peak strength, durability, speed, agility, stamina, reflexes, and senses.
Unfortunately, the lead scientist is killed, making it certain that Steve will be the only one.
Apparently there's a group called Hydra led by Germany's super soldier named the Red Skull.
Steve is underutilized and made to sell war bonds until he decides to take it upon himself to go rescue Bucky from Hydra.
In the end, Steve loses everything to save the day. He crashes down in the Arctic and is put on the ice.
Captain America: The First Avenger is a really unique movie, blending the superhero genre with a gritty classic war film. We gave it 4 stars.
They said it couldn't be done. The first huge team-up. Avengers.
Returning, we have Iron Man, Black Widow, who we saw in Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, recently unfrozen, Hawkeye, who we saw in Thor, and the Hulk, now portrayed by Mark Ruffalo.
Thor's brother is up to some shenanigans and summoned an alien warforce known as the Chitauri.
He got these goons and a scepter from Thanos.
Remember Thanos, he's important. Also, we don't know it yet, but Loki's scepter holds the Mind Stone. Another Infinity Stone.
There's a massive battle over New York, and Tony nearly gets lost in a portal which haunts him all through Iron Man 3.
Avengers was a huge success and really solidified the MCU. We gave Avengers 4 stars and it's well deserved.
Okay, so it's time for a downer. Iron Man 3.
I wanted to like this film, but it was a mess. The main things we need to know is Tony pissed off the Mandarin who runs the 10 Rings. Yes, the 10 Rings from the first Iron Man.
Things go bad for Tony, and he almost loses everything, including Pepper. In the end, he decides to rely less on his tech and destroys all of his suits.
We gave Iron Man 3 2 stars. It would have gotten lower, but some of the action scenes, like the attack on Tony's home, was pretty cool.
Next up, we have Thor: The Dark World. A lot of people think this is one of the worst MCU movies, but Spoon liked it. I did not.
Thor hasn't heard from Jane because she found the Aether, which is actually the Reality Stone.
She is infected, and the discovery of the Reality Stone awakens Asgard's ancient enemies, the Dark Elves.
This movie is really gritty and not as fun as the first, and that's why it gets a bad rap. I think it's important not only for the introduction of the Reality Stone, but also for the character progression of Thor.
We compromised and gave Thor: The Dark World 3 stars.
Best of the best.
Here we go.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Captain Rogers is now working for S.H.I.E.L.D., but something isn't right. There's a lot of spoiler territory here, so we're just going to hit you with the main character you need to know, and that's
Bucky Barnes, except he's back, but he's Hydra's answer to Captain America, now called the Winter Soldier. He's got the same abilities as Cap, but he's got a bionic arm too.
This movie has a lot to digest, a lot of information which shapes the future of the MCU.
We're introduced to the Falcon. He's a former test pilot who had an experimental wingsuit. He helps Cap out throughout the film. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a beautiful film, and not just for an MCU movie, but overall. I think this movie is the best comic book movie ever made, hands down.
We gave Captain America: The Winter Soldier 4.5 stars. It was a real joy to watch. Is it time?
Veronica really likes this one, and I can't blame her. If you weren't a comic book fan, you probably had no clue who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. That's okay.
There's a lot we have to cover in this one. A lot of new characters.
We'll start with Peter Quill, or as he's called now, Star-Lord. He's a human who's abducted as a child by a space pirate named Yondu.
Peter steals an object called the Orb, which we later learn is just the housing for the Power Stone.
Here's where things get crazy. Peter tries to sell the orb, but he's confronted by Gamora, the favorite daughter of Thanos. Yes, that Thanos.
Gamora is a master assassin trained by Thanos. She has superhuman strength, agility, durability, vision, and stamina.
She also has bio-augmentations which allow her to heal faster.
Gamora and Peter are fighting for the orb, which grabs the attention of my favourite character, Rocket. Rocket is a raccoon who was genetically modified. He's a genius with weapons and tech.
He travels with a 7-foot-tall tree creature named Groot, who can only say the words, "I am Groot." All of these guys get tossed into a prison together.
In prison, they meet the last of their crew after they decide they need each other. Drax is so funny. He's a warrior who doesn't understand certain kinds of speech.
That's pretty much all you need to know here. The plot was a lot more involved. We loved The Guardians. It was actually one of the first movies I saw when I started working at the theater.
Guardians of the Galaxy earned 4 stars from us. It's definitely the most fun movie in the series.
Next up, we have Avengers Age of Ultron. Our second Avengers movie brings us a few new characters as well as some pretty cool moments.
Hydra uses Loki's scepter to create metahumans of their own. Wanda and Pietro Maximoff.
Tony and Bruce create an AI that goes mad with power named Ultron. That AI recruits the twins Wanda and Pietro to mess with the Avengers.
It's important to focus on Wanda. She has the power of telekinesis and mind control, but it's easier to sum her up as she is in the movies.
She's weird. Ultron sends the twins after the Avengers. Wanda makes everyone trip out and sends the Hulk on a rampage. Ultron eventually wins the day.
He stole some vibranium from Wakanda. Vibranium is the same stuff Captain America's shield is made out of.
Ultron makes himself the perfect body, but the heroes foil his plans when they upload Jarvis into the body of who becomes Vision when paired with the Mind Stone.
Vision can fly. He has superhuman strength, durability, energy blasts. He can even synthetically create material like skin or a fancy cape.
He can lift Mjolnir.
The Avengers stop Ultron, but not before he totally destroys a nation called Sokovia. More on that in Captain America: Civil War.
We gave Avengers Age of Ultron 2 stars. It's pretty lame and follows the faithless multitudes of bad guys formula. While it has a few cool moments like the Hulk freakout, it's generally not great.
Our next film is really cool and remains the film Spoon has seen the most times in the cinema, at over 20 times.
What? It was always playing when I got out of work back when I was in the box office.
Ant-Man is a very different movie from the MCU. It's only barely a superhero movie, as most of it is a straightforward heist comedy.
Ant-Man follows Scott Lang, who is a convict who is approached by a scientist named Hank Pym.
Using a special suit and something called Pym particles, Ant-Man can shrink or grow. He also has a radio communicator which allows him to control and communicate with ants.
Ant-Man was wicked fun, and it kept everything moving along nicely. This is generally a good film, but in the MCU it made an underused character shine.
We gave Ant-Man 3.5 stars.
Captain America: Civil War. Basically, after the destruction of Sokovia, the government wants to register and control the Avengers.
Tony, War Machine, Black Panther, Vision, Black Widow, and Spider-Man are pro-registration, while Captain Rogers, Bucky, Falcon, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Ant-Man are not.
Tony and his team are set to try to arrest the others. Now that we've mentioned them, let's talk about Black Panther and Spider-Man.
Black Panther is the new king of Wakanda after his father was killed. He has advanced technology and powers, including enhanced strength and durability. His suit is made out of vibranium fibers.
Black Panther is wicked cool. Spider-Man is a kid from New York who was bitten by a radioactive spider who gave him super strength, reflexes, durability, and a spider sense which can warn him of danger. He develops web shooters which can be used to swing and attack.
In the end, there's a lot of damage done and no reconciliation.
Civil War was really jumbled. In our opinion, there was too much going on and too many plot points. It fell way behind Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
3 stars is all we could give to Captain America Civil War. It was a decent movie, just not that great.
Enter the realm of the strange.
Doctor Strange is a psychedelic trip of intense CGI and drama.
Stephen Strange was a brilliant surgeon who was also an asshole. He wrecks his car and his hands at the same time.
Not satisfied to sit back and do nothing, he seeks out the Ancient One to learn how to heal himself.
Whoa, guys, magic is real, and Strange takes to his arcane studies like no other.
He battles an evil wizard and even takes on the sinister Dormammu.
Doctor Strange is a wizard, so he casts spells using an arcane energy. He also happens to have the Eye of Agamotto, which is actually the Time Stone.
5 stones down. The Tesseract, space, ether, reality, Loki's scepter, which is the Mind Stone now in Vision's forehead, the orb, power, and the Eye of Agamotto, which is the Time Stone. The only stone left is the Soul Stone.
Doctor Strange was a great ride. They really captured the character. We both liked it. What did we rate it, Veronica?
3.5 stars.
Hey, Veronica. You know who's back?
Rocket!
That's right. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This time we're adding a few more characters.
And fleshing out a few others.
We find out that Peter isn't so human after all.
He's half celestial. We'll probably be hearing more about them later in the MCU, but for now, Ego, Quill's dad, is the only one.
Nebula, Gamora's sister, is back. She's basically got the same abilities as Gamora, except half of her is cybernetic.
There's Mantis, who is an alien who can read emotions and send soothing waves into those she touches.
Guardians 2 was an emotional ride. We learn a lot about the Guardians, but we're also left with some more questions.
Spoon was not very optimistic of Guardians Volume 2. He thought there was no way they were going to be able to capture that magic twice.
But they did. While not as good as the first Guardians, we rated Volume 2 as a solid 3.5 stars.
Spider-Man gets his own movie in Spider-Man Homecoming. We already know who Peter Parker is, and much of this film is very contained.
This film is as much about Peter's relationship with Tony as it is about anything else. Peter wants to be an Avenger so bad, but Tony is hesitant.
To some, it might come off that Tony is a hypocrite for denying Peter after using him in Civil War. Tony has his reasons though, and the relationship only grows.
Spider-Man was a great movie, and probably my favorite Spider-Man movie, topping Spider-Man 2, which was epic.
Spider-Man Homecoming earned 3.5 stars from us. It's only a shame that Marvel doesn't own his entire Rogues Gallery.
Venom was sick. Could you imagine Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock in the MCU?
Alas, that's not going to happen.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this next one.
We're actually very divided on this next film. Very.
Thor Ragnarok. Sure, Spoon. You love Thor, so you'll love this next one, right?
Oh, come on, Spoon. It was wonderful.
It had so many missed opportunities. Every time it had something epic to say, it cut its knees out by turning it into a joke, which it was funny.
Hilarious, but Spoon wasn't looking to joke.
To summarize quickly with as little spoilers as possible, it seems Thor has been held back all of this time, and it took the return of his sister Hela to snap him out of it.
By the end, the Asgardians, as well as a new face, Valkyrie, are journeying through space with Bruce Banner.
I thought Ragnarok was the worst film in the MCU. They took a character and completely turned him around at the whim of a director. I know I'm the odd man out here because everyone loved it, but I gave Thor Ragnarok 1.5 stars.
Ouch. I gave Thor Ragnarok 3.5 stars, but Spoon and I have negotiated to a combined 2.5 stars.
Now that we have that depressing trip down memory lane out of our way, let's move on to a fresh face.
Black Panther finally takes us to Wakanda. It is in a way an origin story, but also helps establish Wakanda's place in the world.
There are so many cool characters in this movie. M'Baku, leader of the Jabari clan, Killmonger, possibly the best villain we've seen. I had a really hard time rooting against him. But lastly, we get Shuri, the little sister of Black Panther and resident tech genius.
She's like Q from James Bond.
The killer part is it's pretty much established that her tech and know-how are better than Tony.
Wakanda tech is very cool.
Black Panther doesn't really lend a large amount to the overall narrative, but Wakanda is going to reveal itself to the world, so that's huge.
We gave Black Panther 4 stars for being one of those wildly entertaining movies that you can watch over and over again.
Okay, here we go. The most important movie comes with Avengers: Infinity War. It's the biggest cast yet and the biggest stakes.
To start off, Thanos kicks the ass of the Asgardians, including Thor and Loki. He also nabs the Space Stone from Loki.
He boxes the Hulk, and he wins.
Thanos' goons show up on Earth looking for the Time Stone. By the beginning of Infinity War, Thanos has already acquired the Power Stone.
2 stones down.
Doctor Strange gets taken and Spider-Man and Iron Man go after him.
Vision and Wanda get attacked, but Cap saves the day. He suggests going to Wakanda to try and protect the Mind Stone.
Rocket and the Guardians pick up Thor, who thinks Thanos is after the Reality Stone that he had left with the Collector in Thor 2.
Bad news. He already has it, and he takes Gamora, who knows the location to the Soul Stone.
So he has the Reality Stone and the Soul Stone.
That leaves only the Time Stone and the Mind Stone unclaimed.
There's a battle on Thanos' homeworld of Titan. Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone to view possible outcomes, seeing only one where they succeed.
Ultimately, he surrenders the Time Stone.
Showdown in Wakanda!
Thanos wants the Mind Stone, and he's got an army to come and get it. While all of this was happening, Thor got himself a new weapon after losing Mjolnir in Thor Ragnarok.
Thanos gets to the Mind Stone just after Wanda destroys it.
Not so fast. Thanos has the Time Stone, and he just does a little rewind and takes it away.
Thor almost takes him out, but not before Thanos snaps and things get really bad.
Half of the life in the universe wiped out. Bad.
We'll hold off the final tally until after our next 2 movies.
We loved Avengers: Infinity War. It earned 3.5 stars.
Our next film is Ant-Man and the Wasp, which follows Ant-Man and his semi-girlfriend Hope, who is the daughter of Scott's mentor, Hank Pym.
Hope has some cool additions to her suit, like a blaster and wings.
So we learned in Ant-Man that Hank's wife and Hope's mother was lost years ago in the quantum realm.
There's a new baddie named Ghost, an old hero named Goliath. This movie was decent, but overall pretty forgettable.
There's been some theory about the quantum realm being important in Endgame, so maybe that's the tie-in here.
At the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, we see the effects of the snap, and Ant-Man is stranded in the quantum realm.
We gave Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 stars. It didn't match up to the fun of the first one.
Although Luis was still hilarious.
We're going back to the 1990s with Captain Marvel. In Infinity War, Nick Fury called out to someone with a specialized beeper.
That beeper called out to Captain Marvel.
Carol Danvers is a woman who fights alongside the Kree until she realizes a secret they would rather keep hidden.
She was powered up by the Tesseract, so she's all jacked up on Mountain Dew. We're talking flight, energy blasts, space travel, and invulnerability.
We also meet some interesting characters in Goose the Cat and the elusive Skrulls.
Danvers forges a close bond with Fury, but she also has other problems on her plate. She gives the beeper to Fury, but it's unclear if he ever tried to call her in the past.
We liked Captain Marvel, and we gave it 3.5 stars.
Now what we've all been waiting for.
The who's who and where they are for our remaining heroes.
On Earth, we have Hulk, Black Widow, Captain America, Ant-Man, Thor.
Wong, Okoye, Hawkeye, Rocket.
And at the end of the credits, Captain Marvel shows that she's there too.
Stranded on the ship from Titan are Tony and Nebula.
An interesting one is Valkyrie. She was revealed to be alive in one of the posters, but I'm curious to see where she fits in.
That's it for our show. Thanks for watching, and as always, leave us lots of comments.
Don't forget to subscribe, and our next episode will be our actual review of Avengers Endgame. We hope you enjoy the ride as much as we do. Thanks for watching.